Welcome back to another edition of Fly Tying for Beginners. And today we're going to tie a pale evening dun. The hook I have in a vise is a standard dry fly hook. This is a size 14. Thread I'm going to use is cream colored thread. Going to attach the thread in the back of the eye. And I'm going to put down a base halfway. And then I'm going to come forward half of that amount. And this is going to be our wing placement. I'm going to trim off that excess thread. For the wing, I'm going to use a white goose quill. You can see I have this used up some, but I'm going to take that goose quill, I'm going to touch the goose quill to the shank of the hook, and I'm going to let that point go through there. And there is the size of the wing that we want. And I'm going to do that with another feather. And there's the other wing. I cut them off and I place them with the natural curve away from each other. I'm going to tie these in. I'm going to make these wings the length of the shank. And you see these, the natural taper on there? We want them to be on standing like this when we get done. So I'm going to tie these in forward. And take a loose loop. I'm going to pull straight down. You can see them coming up. Take another loose loop and pull straight down. I'm going to trim away the back side and trim that at a little bit of an angle and trim that kind of close. I'm going to wrap this down and I'm going to bring my thread to the back. And when we get back up to the front, we will stand these wings up to make our upright wings. Right now we got a nice division in there. We stand them up, they'll be divided nicely. Put down that base to the rear. Now I have a cream colored hackle. You can see these are long hackles. I'm going to take a bunch of them for the tail. And we're going to secure that right in for the tail. Come back to the end. I'm going to put a wrap underneath, and that will help split the tails up there a little bit. I'm going to turn my vise slightly. Here I have Pale Evening Dun dubbing, and I'm going to make a noodle, and I want a pretty skinny one. Bodies of these flies are pretty skinny. And we're going to wrap that. And we're going to bring that up and stop it just before we hit the wing. Now that we're up here, I'm going to move my thread right to the base of the wing once again. I'm going to grab that wing and I'm going to pull it up. I'm going to wrap in front of it. You don't want to mess around too much with the wing because you could split them. And there's our upright and divided wing. I didn't even have to do the figure eight. You could if you would like. Bring that back just a little bit more. Wrap close right to the base. There we go. Now we're going to take a cream colored hackle And you can see I gave it the haircut there. Leave those little stubbles on there. I'm going to put that right down between the wings and carefully tie that in. Move it to the back. Carefully tie that in and pull that nice and tight right there. And that helps divide the wings even further. I'm going to bring my thread back to the front. And I'm going to leave that thread about half an eye length to 1 eye length from the eye of the hook. Then we take our hackle and we're going to wind this. And place one wrap right next to the previous. Going to grab those wings and hold them up, and I'm going to wrap right in front of it, and I'm rubbing the wings with the hackle. And we're going to put just a couple of wraps right there in front, and when I reach the thread I'm going to go ahead and tie that off. Put a few wraps in front of that hackle. Take my poke and snip and remove that. And I'm going to tie off the head. Just make a head there. Take your whip finish tool. Give that a 3-turn whip finish. Take that poke and snip once again. Take your head cement. Make sure you clean your brush off pretty well if you're not using a bodkin. And put a little bit of head cement on the head of the fly. And here we have a pale evening done. Hope that you learned something from this video. Hope that you would subscribe to my channel. Please refer me to your friends. Leave comments, questions, suggestions. And most of all, I thank you very much for watching my videos.